Hello, my name is Joe Richter. I'm a real estate broker and an associate broker with Keller Williams Realty. I am licensed in California and Oregon. I prepare monthly reports that look at the market trends in 14 communities and market segments I call the Orange County Lifestyle Artery. This artery runs from Newport Beach to Ladera Ranch, through Irvine and Trabuco Canyon. We take a close look at two areas in Newport. We monitor several sections in Irvine and report monthly on Turtle Rock and Woodbridge. Then we move out to Baker Ranch, Foothill Ranch, and Portola Hills, and then find the details on Robinson Ranch and Rancho Cielo and Rancho Santa Margarita. Then we shift to Dove Canyon and Coto to Caza, both as gated golf course communities, and finish in Ladera Ranch. Each area is broken down into subsections. For example, in Ladera, we look at condominiums. Then we look at single-family homes under 3,250 feet, and then single-family homes over 3,250 feet. Each one of our reports focus on a specific community and product segment inside that community. In Newport, this report is for Newport Beach. We're focusing on the West Bay and Santa Ana Heights areas as defined by the MLS. We call the report the current market trends. We're going to be discussing, for the most part, the changes over the last 30 days. The report period is from January 1st, 2020 to April 30th, 2020, which gives us the first full 4 months of the year. This report is specific to single-family homes, 1,500 to 4,000 square feet. As part of the response to the COVID-19 stay-at-home order, we've added a small section to our report this month, and we're calling it the monthly headline. And this month, for Newport Beach, the Santa Ana Heights, West Bay area, the headline is simply this: new listings and contracts written, fall, bounce, and fall again. Fall, bounce, fall again. The primary reason we do these reports is so that those people in Orange County who use our information to determine when they want to buy and sell have an understanding of the market, and that we use this very detailed approach when we do listing consultations with sellers. As you can see here, Newport Beach is a seller's market with 1.7 months of inventory. Chapman University defines a buyer's market in Southern California as being 3.5 months or more of inventory. The next key thing we look at when we're doing a listing consultation is what's actively on the market, what's happening in the market, and we want to know what the competition is. There are currently 17 homes on the market that we would have to review for helping to determine an appropriate price, but we also have to look at the market trends, what's happened over the last 90 days. And in this case, there have been 22 new listings. 10 of those are still on the market. 5 of those were in April, so 5 of those 10 are well under the 30 days that we like to consider the beginning of the normal DOM, days on market. 30 to 45 days is what we profess to be normal DOM. Currently, comparing 2020 to 2019, the quick summary is simply this: new listings are down 24%, contracts written are down 37%, and closings are only down 3%, and that's largely due to an exceptionally strong start of the year, which we will demonstrate in the following graphs. Anytime we take on a new listing, we try to explain to the sellers and buyers that there are really 3 key milestones in the buying and selling process. New listings, which means willing sellers; contracts written, which means willing buyers; and closings, which means a buyer that's able to execute. As we mentioned before, new listings are down 24%, and that is largely because of this fall off that happened in February March, and April. Otherwise, the year was off to a dynamic start. But to add something positive to the conversation, Fannie Mae, who's a major funding source for home mortgages, is forecasting a very strong third and fourth quarter this year. In other words, they think that the soft spot we're going to see in our normal peak time will be taken over and compensated for by a stronger fall and winter. How many willing buyers are there on the market? In other words, how many contracts have been written? Well, we're down 37% this year compared to last, but that really is a result of April's performance with the stay-at-home order. January was strong, February was strong, March was decent, but the stay-at-home order really choked the market. The other 90-day trend that we have to monitor when we're doing a listing presentation is how many homes have closed. Is there something wrong in the market? In this particular case, there is. Lenders are getting out of the lending process. Wells Fargo, Citibank have announced that they're not doing any jumbo loans. So there will be some inability for some willing buyers to buy because they can't get funding. In this particular case, we're just 3% below last year's activity, but that's largely due to an extremely strong January, February, and March. The other way of looking at closings is really what's happened over the last 90 days. There have been 23 closings. 15 of those have sold below last list price. 1 sold at last list price, 7 sold above. This is a very normal looking pattern in the market. Days on market is one of the key support triggers, if you will, for inventory. And we need to point out that currently the active listings, all 17 of them, are averaging 108 days on the market. If you recall, I mentioned we believe that 30 to 45 days, 35 to 50 days is a good average range for days on market, DOM. And if to verify that, look here at the homes that have closed so far this year. They're averaging 27 days on the market. But in our prior report, DOM was 96 days, and in the report before that, it was 72 days. That all tells you there's a shift in the market. Inventory defines whether or not we're in a buyer or seller market, but inventory that's used for that is just this kind of standard graph here that tells you how many months supply you have on the year-over-year basis, number of units available for market divided by the average number of homes sold per month over the past year, well below the 3.5 month demarcation line from a seller's market to a buyer's market. But we're probably at this low level because we need to understand some underlying inventory factors. The 90-day inventory has not changed. What inventory today is exactly what it was 90 days ago. The year-over-year inventory is down 31%, and the April to April change is down 37%. These are very unusual. If these hadn't dropped so much, the inventory levels probably would be a month or so higher. We gather the data from the MLS with predefined searches on the MLS, and each month we download, and we can do it any day of the month. We can do it multiple times a day if we want. But typically our procedure is on the first of the month to download the raw data from those reports. Those saved searches are available on our website, joe-richter.com, under a navigation link called Predefined Community Listings. And by clicking on that predefined link, you'll see a list of the 14 different communities, and you will see the public-facing information that's in those information. And part of that is a map of those listings. This is a map of the Santa Ana Heights, West Bay area. And you also see thumbnails of the listings. So by clicking on any one of the thumbnails, you can see the underlying public-facing information. It's an excellent way to stay on top of what's going on, because this is dynamic live information. It's instantaneous from the MLS. I hope by now you realize that the presentation is our proprietary information. We have developed the forms that crunch the numbers and generate these reports. The process includes putting out a series of tables for all kinds of different things. This particular table is for the active listings, and you can see here we have all the active listings, and they're showing the DOM. We are data nerds. This is an outlier calculation, and what this is saying is anything that's been on the market more than 301 days is an outlier. So we have one house here that's outside, and if you remove that, the average including it is 108, but if you take it out, it's 91 days. Woohoo, too much information, right? We also have a table here that shows all the closings for the year, if you're least bit interested. What this does show is the average price change for all of these. What I can tell you is that if you average this string of information, the average change in price is a drop in price from original price by 2.9%. And if you just look at all the price reductions, the average of all the price reductions is 5.9%. And the final thing we want to point out in our listing presentations, we make this graph as visible as possible, because this trend line shows where things are closing, how they cluster around this trend line. And the red dot is the close price, the gray dot above it is the original list price. For instance, down here, this home to sell had to drop from this position here to this position here. It's very important to properly price your home. This was a well-priced home, very little price drop, very little price drop. So we try to emphasize that. If you price too low, look at the market, we'll let it move up. So we hope that those of you who are thinking of selling have learned from this demonstration that we have an in-depth knowledge of the real estate market. We know the timing, neighborhood values, marketing strategies needed to properly price and list your home. As your real estate agent, we know how to take full advantage of any market condition to help you sell your house. And for you buyers out there who are wondering where to start, you now know we have this market knowledge for all of South Orange County. We can help you identify the best neighborhood and find the right home for the next phase of your life. Please contact me. The team I work with would love to be of service. Thank you very much.